I don't know, guys. That Israeli propaganda just ain't hitting the same. And we can see what you're doing. We do know you are a cold-blooded murderer. And like I said, the reason that they're doing this is because they want us to stop investigating the death of Charlie Kirk. I'm convinced this is a full-blown Fed operation. I'm hearing about the pressure that's even happening.
Candace Owens just slammed Benjamin Netanyahu for lying about Charlie Kirk in a second recorded statement, saying he had nothing to do with Kirk's assassination. And tell me, why would a friend of Charlie Kirk have to come out and deny twice on video that he killed Charlie Kirk? Well, Candace answers that question, among others, so let's get it from her. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I mean, I'm telling you guys, I've been through a lot of media attacks. You name it, I've been through it. This is another level. Okay, this is like, it's like there's a thirst there that I've never seen. They are all parroting the same talking points. They're clearly collaborating. I can tell you it's a Zionist attack. I've lived through enough of them. This is what they're like. And they all kind of say the same thing, slightly different. And the idea is to pile up and hope that if people keep seeing the same thing, they'll just believe it's true. And of course, defending Bibi Netanyahu seems to be at the center of it all. That Zionists control a lot of publications in America. That is just a reality. We can even go through that. It's a little weird that I have never said throughout discussing this case, which I care very much about, that Bibi Netanyahu murdered Charlie Kirk. Tucker Carlson never said that. Megyn Kelly never said that. Dave Smith never said that. Instead, what we are doing is we are disputing Bibi Netanyahu's narrative that him and Charlie were on great terms and really friendly. He had just invited him out. And here's this love letter Charlie wrote. He heavily implied that. And he was saying way too much, too fast, and too soon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And corroborating this is Max Blumenthal's Gray Zone article, where he talks about the fact that Charlie Kirk was mad at Netanyahu, believing that he was trying to cow him into silence as he began to publicly question Israel's influence in the U.S. government. It also said that Kirk came to loathe him, viewing him as a bully. Tucker Carlson corroborated this, by the way. And he was mad that Netanyahu was dictating cabinet decisions for Trump. I mean, that's the result of the Israel lobby and how Trump's aligned himself with it and the Miriam Madelsons of the world. But Candace was called a conspiracy theorist about this, and now you have more people corroborating this, including Tucker Carlson, and people sharing their messages from Charlie. The receipts that show this. I mean, this has substantiation, and Netanyahu should not get away with this. He's clearly lying, despite the overwhelming evidence against him. Of course, he's lived a life of lying. He's a master liar and master manipulator, and it sounds like Charlie Kirk grew to view him that way too.
That didn't feel right, and we just wanted the truth to be out there. I don't know who specifically came out and said that Bibi killed Charlie Kirk, but now that he's for the second time denying that he is, people are going, what's actually going on here? This is weird. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I didn't feel compelled to come out and make 2 videos to tell people that I didn't kill him. That would be weird. Like, you would be like, Candace, that's very strange. Why do you feel like you need to say that? If Tucker Carlson had to make 2 videos saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk, you would go, that's weird. Megyn Kelly, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Why would she do that? Of course she didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Well, Bibi has come out, like I said, with his second statement, and we can listen to it. Take a listen.
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life, it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or a decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen. Now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this: Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
I don't know, guys. That Israeli propaganda just ain't hitting the same. It's just not hitting the same. I feel like it was hitting in 2018, but like this is just not hitting. Gaza's not helpful. You talking about a free country, Gaza just kind of being bombarded because you want to make a beachside place vacation for your friends. It's not.
Yeah, an apartheid state isn't the best way to demonstrate that you have a free society and you look toward, liberal values as being a good thing when you subjugate the Palestinians, and Israel's been doing that since 1967. And here's the answer to the question about why he feels compelled to do this. It's Israel's reputation, and it's their reputation for political assassinations and assassinations in general. Here's Wikipedia's article on it, which recently had to be broken down by decade, and here's why. I'm going to scroll with my mouse. These are all the Israeli assassinations that are documented of individuals, their dates of their execution, etc., all the way down to the recent party in Doha that was assassinated for trying to negotiate the release of the hostages, because Israel doesn't want to release the hostages. So this is the reputation they have. They have a reputation for possibly of offing JFK, by the way, too, because he dared to try to prevent them from acquiring nukes in 1960s, and also because he wanted the American Zionist Council to register as a foreign lobby. That's the predecessor to AIPAC. So that's their reputation, and that's why. So despite being a friend, you wouldn't have to do this if you were a true friend to Charlie Kirk, but that's why Netanyahu does it.
Not feeling good. And we can see what you're doing. We do know you are a cold-blooded murderer. Looking at what's happening in Gaza, there's no question about that. How many kids have been murdered, okay? And you're, again, saying too much. I don't know why you don't seem to be able to get through a speech without lying or implying a lie. Who specifically, BB, is funded by Qatar? Maybe, don't just maybe Qatar. In fact, you are the one, your administration is the one that has been under investigation for taking money from the Qataris. It was actually related to Gaza.
And not only that, he also funded Hamas through Qatar as an intermediary to the tune of $1.8 billion. This has been widely reported in Israeli media and U.S. media. You don't hear the legacy media talking about it at all, but it does delve into this in the BB Files. Excellent documentary, by the way. But lots of publications on this. Netanyahu was outspoken about it, caught on film, talking about it, saying it was a master strategy, likening it to the Godfather mantra of keeping your friends close, but your enemies closer. And that's the truth. So Netanyahu, you've been working with Qatar funding much more than those who dare to question your narrative.
So, and what you were going to do with Gaza thereafter. So why are you saying that about Americans? If we were taking money from Qatar, it wouldn't be a problem according to your administration and your cronies. So what's this about? I was so hopeful that you would be able to get through that speech without mentioning the Holocaust, but that was kind of the opening liner. Joseph Goebbels said, bro, Joseph Goebbels has nothing on the Zionists in America and the propaganda that they have pushed. I got to tell you, that's the reality, okay? Let's go before him. Let's go to Sigmund Freud, how you guys created this system of propaganda. Who's the real father of modern propaganda, okay? It's the Freud family.
It does seem like Zionist propaganda to some extent would make Goebbels blush. I'm not going to lie about that. That's not to say that, he was responsible for, 5, 6, 7 million deaths, however many you attribute to the Holocaust. But yeah, that is what we're seeing here out of a modern era where Israeli propaganda has drawn the U.S. into fruitless entanglements with Israel, given $300 billion to it, deposing Assad, siding with Al-Qaeda to do so in Syria, deposing Libya because Israel wanted to, being drawn into a war with Iran because Israel wanted us to, Netanyahu wanted us to, deposing Saddam Hussein partially because Netanyahu wanted us to. Those are the fruits of Israeli propaganda. So I think Candace has a point there.
We're awake to this. We see what you guys are doing. And you're not making people feel comfortable with the fact that you keep coming out to have to deny something that certainly wasn't asserted by me on this program. And you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? It's a lie by omission. And to stop mentioning the fact that you invited him to Israel just 2 weeks ago without mentioning the fact that he declined to go. Am I lying? Can anybody actually work and assert that I am lying? You can say my name. Candace Owens lied. Charlie said, I'd love to go to Israel. Charlie said, I'd love to have you on my radio show. For some reason, that seems to be a common theme, that they have sent the hounds out, but they're unable to actually dispute the words that are coming out of my mouth. You have Bill Ackman, extraordinarily. I said, I will publish whatever it is that you say, Bill. You can come on the program. We can talk about that trip to the Hamptons. He just kind of, which was, by the way, you guys on Instagram were so funny. I didn't even have to say anything. You guys just saw right through it because we're all awake. He just, I guess, shared text messages with Charlie Kirk to dispel the claims of, you see how it says blackmail in parentheses, but they put Israel. I never said Israel blackmailed him. I never said that.
Notice these non sequitur responses, how Ackman came out first with that 1,000 or so word essay about how, he wasn't involved in this intervention session trying to draw Charlie Kirk toward Zionism, like fully to make him back into Ben Shapiro, but also that Netanyahu responded in a way as if there are, prominent associations out there that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel. Candace is right about that. Candace hasn't said that. She said quite the contrary. Dave Smith has said that. Tucker Carlson has said that. In the Gray Zone piece that Max Blumenthal wrote, he wrote that prominently in the article. George Galloway, when talking about this, said the same thing. I can't find a single person of prominence in the influencer community on the right that has really come out strong on this. It has been lots of people in my comments section, though, I will say. And the political zeitgeist and the suspicion is as such. What I just showed you about Israel's reputation for assassinations and political assassinations. By the way, they assassinated 34 sailors in 1967 on the USS Liberty. Look that up too. So that's what we're dealing with here.
Okay. And in fact, somebody that was at the Hamptons published a statement and said that Charlie said he felt morally blackmailed. Okay. So that doesn't help your case. But anyways, Bill Ackman published these private text messages, and I guess that just was supposed to dispel the idea that anything happened in the Hamptons. And yeah, actually what's missing from these messages are like a date, a context, and they don't dispel anything that I have asserted. Okay?
By the way, I've noticed all the Zionists attacking Candace Owens and Dave Smith for sharing their text messages that actually reveal the truth about Charlie and his thoughts about Israel. But they haven't attacked Ackman in that way, those Zionists that, were hounding Dave Smith and Candace Owens for this sort of stuff. Ackman just escapes unscathed due to that because their outrage is selective. They're not bringing receipts like Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith and Candace Owens. That's their response to that.
So what's going on here? Then they trot this guy out, Eric Bolling. He goes on the PBD podcast, and this should be embarrassing. Like, the amount of lies coming out of this man's mouth was astounding. Okay, but they ran with it. The New York Post, right, outfit of the Mossad, outfit of the deep state, ran with it. Charlie Kirk had a breakup with Candace Owens, like as if we were dating. Let's listen actually to what Eric Bolling had to say on the PBD podcast.
At some point, her credibility, is going to go down the tubes because she needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet?
It's still going. I think
he was there in the room.
Reading it.
Andrew Colbert was there in the room.
That tweet had no receipts in it, by the way.
You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015,
Oh, wow.
2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
So let's
here, you don't
without
even have to do
even
this,
being
Adam.
biased.
There's a
Is Candace even involved
there's
in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
no question proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's
And
not.
now she's not
because
even invited.
Correct. So this is
So
their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited, meaning
She's not even there.
Yeah, she's not.
She's
She's
not
not
there.
one of the names
Wait,
that I.
you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No. I
That's
mean,
not the
heir,
funeral.
the heir to
Oh,
the
okay.
She
TPUSA
doesn't,
throne.
she doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean,
So that's just what it's so good for this to happen because you guys are watching everything that I'm saying and you can watch them lie. Eric Bolling, I just don't even get this one. How can you say that I have not spoken at a Turning Point USA conference in years when I literally went on tour with Turning Point USA on college campuses last year? Like that's just incredible. You didn't know that I went, I was on tour for Turning Point USA last year. You don't remember that happening at all. Okay, then I get fired from the Daily Wire. Turning Point USA is the first to issue a Christ is King statement of support. Then I do, what was it, the YWLS conference right after that. So let's just actually bring this in. What you are referring to, which is kind of a part of the story that we're telling you, is that the Zionists started circling Charlie and trying to control things. This was actually in the around September or whatever. And I was always very honest that Charlie and I had a conversation and they were putting pressure on him. You can't talk to her. She's talking about Israel, blah, blah. I said, Charlie, I am under so much fire right now. Do not even, I'm like radioactive. Don't even worry about the conference. I have to rebuild my whole life. I have to figure out how to get my podcast back on the road. I literally, I'm banned from Australia because I stood up to Zionists. Like I have so much going on. For me not to speak at AmpFest is nothing. Like that doesn't even mean anything. Save yourself, okay? It means nothing to me.
And by the way, Turning Point USA's website actually corroborates what she's saying about Eric Bolling. If it's to be trusted, he's not on the board of directors of Turning Point USA. I believe that's the question that he answered in the affirmative. Yeah, I'm on the board of Turning Point USA. Unless there's some other board of governance outside of the board of directors or something else and the website's incorrect, and that's a possibility, man, but I don't see him right here. It looks like Candace Owens is right about this, just that fact, beyond, the lies she's exposing here. So it's true, she spoke at least last year at various Turning Point USA events, and I think she spoke with Charlie in 2023, I think in March or April. I looked into this today. So yeah, I mean, Candace is going to bring receipts. This stooge on PBD was not aware that Candace, all she's done is bring receipts about this issue and requested them from others, and she's gotten corroboration on it from people like Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson. So that's the truth.
Tell them whatever you need them to tell them. And I'm going to focus on trying to rebuild my life because they also had me canceled from YouTube. Remember all that stuff at the end of last year? It was insane. Then I came back bigger and I came back stronger. Because at the end of the day, the truth will win against lies. That's the message. And so the reality is that then they came inward because that's what Zionists do. They started putting more pressure on him. And this time they didn't want just Candace Owens. It was Tucker Carlson because Tucker went to AmFest. And then they said, that can't happen again either. And Charlie started realizing which way the wind was blowing. And in fact, in the very week that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he was saying that he wanted me back on the roster. That's where his mindset was at. You cannot dispute any of this because it's real. This is then suddenly he gets a Schulman guy is the one that said, I want my name off of the building at Turning Point in the 48 hours leading up to his assassination, the couple of days leading up to his assassination. They were squeezing him, trying to control who he was allowed to speak to. And that started in real earnest, I can tell you, in Q4 of last year. And then Charlie had had enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, corroborated by Max's Gray Zone article saying that Charlie Kirk felt frightened by the backlash he was getting from the donors, particularly in response to him allowing Tucker Carlson to speak at a live Turning Point USA event. And this was substantial because Tucker Carlson said that he believed that Epstein was working for Israel. And he said that it's not anti-Semitism or anti-Semitic to criticize Israel, and you should criticize Israel. And if it's worthy of being criticized, that's what he said. And then Dave Smith debated Josh Hammer, a neocon stooge, absolutely destroyed him. Tucker and Dave got much more applause and praise than neocons among the young conservative audience, and clearly they wanted to rein this in. Seth Dillon wanted to rein this in. Bill Ackman wanted to rein this in. These wealthy donors seem to have put pressure on him, and that's what you saw on that August 6th episode of Megyn Kelly, where he got on there and was so frustrated that his integrity and character were being questioned. It really seems as if he was speaking to this. There's no other plausible explanation, because I think that happened either the day after or 2 days after that appearance, then, you know, this meeting.
And I've got a lot more that's going to come out about what happened at Turning Point. It wasn't just that. They were spiking the ball, where they were spending the money. It was almost like they just wanted to take over the company that he had built and turn it into just another outfit of the Mossad. Like that's the information that I have, and I want to make sure that I properly vet everything and go through everything. That's what it looks like, and it's going to come out. Okay, so your little talking points and the lies people can look up and research and see that's not true, and that's your big LOL point. Like, oh well, the proof of this is she's not speaking at Charlie's honoring Charlie event in Arizona, and then they ask me these questions. They're like, when's the last time you spoke to Erica? Have you attended a Charlie Kirk? What is it? Can you pull up the weird thing? Because they're all running with these talking points. This is what we got from the Daily Mail. Is she planning to attend his memorial service in Arizona? Was she asked to speak, or did she ask to be a part of the program? Why?
This is called concern trolling, by the way, where they aren't actually concerned about that. They're just trying to drive home a political point to skewer a friend for looking into Charlie and the truth behind some of the things he was dealing with in the last month of his life. And by the way, trying to shed light on the truth about his killing, which the FBI hasn't been exactly clear about many elements of that, regardless of what you think about Israeli culpability, by the way. The screwdriver, the disassembly, the clothing, the text messages don't have timestamps. You don't have footage of his car in the area if they could have gotten it. We don't have actual footage of him on the stairwell. You know, all these things she's questioning on her show.
Why would I ask to be a part? Like this is obviously Erica is in like full control. I would hope she's in full control, but I don't know because I'm hearing some stories about donors that are pushing things. But let's reopen that. More questions here. Has she attended any of the vigils for him? Is she planning to attend? Does she speak to Erica? When's the last time they spoke? Board member Eric Bolling, by the way, he's not a board member, but that would have been a good fact check for you, PBD, said that Charlie Kirk had a quiet breakup with Candace Owens after she got too far down the rabbit hole for him. Has there been any communication between, if there hasn't been?
Yeah, I mean, Candace is right. This is where we're going here. We're going here with these stupid narratives trying to disrupt corroborating sources, like 5 of them now. Harrison K. Smith's source, Max Blumenthal's source, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith to some extent. He had a few text messages that indicate Charlie was at least wrestling with this issue in some way, that, you know, he was not Ben Shapiro, let's just say. He was actually complimenting Dave Smith on some of the arguments he had presented in that debate with Douglas Murray on Joe Rogan, complimenting his approach to certain points there and, you know, taking Dave's side on it, debating against a neocon, a Zionist neocon, Douglas Murray, who wrote a book called Neoconservatism, Why We Need It. Don't believe me? Look it up. And by the way, he felt offended that, you know, to use the word neocon during that interview, that debate. He said, "Oh, that's the N-word. Don't we have the N-word, do we?" That's my Douglas Murray impression. It's terrible. It's so putrid, but that is what he said. So I applaud Candace Owens for shedding light on the truth regarding this, for Tucker Carlson sharing the truth about this. But there is no question, whatever you think about Charlie's murder or Israel's culpability in it, Charlie was wrestling with this issue, and it was maybe a product of his unique position in this organization, a dynamic that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, despite possibly being more prominent than Charlie on the right in general, Charlie's probably number 3 or something like that. But Charlie had to deal with this dynamic, is that he had an organization with rich Zionist donors who he had to please to some extent. They were paying the bills. It's a nonprofit. He has to answer to them to some extent. And then he was dealing with young activists, which probably included some Zionists, but it probably included a majority of kids that were not pro-Israel to the core in the Ben Shapiro, David Wormser, Richard Pearl, Paul Wolfowitz, Bill Kristol vein. Let's just say that. And he had to kind of balance that. He was a rock in a hard place to some extent. That might, more than anything, even more than his own individual opinion on these issues to some extent, have had an influence in how he handled it, especially as the months went forward and corpses were piling up, including children, the starvation campaign that they dealt with starting this summer and late spring, I think, when Israel shut down the aid distribution and monopolized it under the GHF. We have Anthony Aguilar speaking about the atrocities that happened there. But I think that's what we're dealing with. So I applaud Candace. Thank you for defending your friend. Thank you for, doubling down and refuting these absurd narratives that are being hoisted in your way. But let me know down below, is Candace Owens right? What does this mean? Do you think Israel was involved in any way in Charlie Kirk's evolution in how he thought about issues or his death? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, also subscribe to Candace. Really appreciate this segment on her show. And please consider becoming a YouTube member. It'd mean the world to me. You can join me and help me support the channel, Liberty Vault, by clicking the join button down below. If you do that, I'll give you the gift of getting access to all of my videos before they go live to the general public. And until I see you guys next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out, guys. Catch you in the next one.